This league is absolutely bonkers. With the way the Wildwood mechanic works, tons of people are just printing currency. The Wildwood Wisps essentially make it so where you are doing a Magic Find build without actually having to do a Magic Find build. And it gets even nuttier if you're doing party play or if you're playing a Magic Find build yourself. So nutty that in most instances, pressing left alt will just straight up crash the game. First of all, if you're not using the league mechanic, you're seriously gimping yourself. Not using a league mechanic this strong is like playing basketball with one arm tied behind your back. Sure, you can do it, but why would you? As most of us know, Path of Exile doesn't really start until you get into maps. Everything leading up to maps is kind of like the tutorial, teaching and showing you the mechanics that you will run once you get into maps. To me, the most fun part about this game is when your build really starts to pop off. With this league mechanic, more and more players are getting to the uber late game faster and maybe even getting there for the first time. In today's video, we're going to go over one of the best in slot items for most builds, what it does, how it works, and what you need to do once you find one or buy one, the Mageblood. The Mageblood is a unique belt that turns your flasks into constant effects. The flasks provide you with pretty strong effects, but they are temporary and you can only use them as long as you have charges. Mageblood changes this. Magebloods come in 2, 3, and 4 flask varieties, meaning it will apply either 2, 3, or 4 flasks constantly. It's almost never worth to buy a 2 flask Mageblood, and I would only recommend using a 2 flask if you happen to find one in one of your maps. Now, while the effect of the Mageblood itself is pretty strong, there are a few things that you want to do to make it even stronger. Once you acquire your Mageblood, you want to hit all of your flasks with enkindling orbs. What enkindling orbs do is they add an enchantment to your flask, but don't allow your flask to gain any charges during the effect of the flask. Usually this is a pretty big downside, but since the Mageblood is going to apply the flasks constantly, and we're not going to be using any charges anyways, we don't really care about this downside. There are several enchantments that you can get with the enkindling orbs, but the enchantment that we're looking for is increased effect at either 69.
Come back here, you! Giggity, giggity, crabbity, giggity.
Or a max of 70%. Any other effect or anything less than 69 or 70%, we don't care about. We're wearing a best in slot belt, we want the best in slot enchantment. Once you do this, now it's time to decide what flasks you want to run. Something to keep in mind is that the Mageblood is going to apply not just the main effect of your flask, but also any prefixes or suffixes that you have. This can allow you to do some pretty crazy things like immunity to shock, freeze, chill, stun, bleeding, you name it. In most instances, you're probably going to want to also have increased effect as a prefix, which is going to stack with the increased effect for the enchantment, basically juicing the hell out of your flasks. Another thing to keep in mind is that by getting these things on your flasks, this can free up some points in your tree if you're taking any nodes that provide ailment immunity. So pick whichever ailments cause you problems, and you most likely are going to want increased effect, and then add those to your flasks. There are a few different ways that you can use the Mageblood to provide you with huge quality of life upgrades. Maybe you're playing a crit build and you're just shy of crit cap. You can use a crit flask to get you the rest of the way there. Or maybe your build is somewhat slow and you want to zoom. You can add a Quicksilver flask with increased effect and increased movement speed during the effect. Or my favorite way, and I think probably the most powerful way to use the Mageblood, is to use all resistance flasks. What this does is it enables you to remove most, if not all, resistances from your gear and allows you to focus on straight damage, utility, and survivability. Mageblood can allow you to do some pretty nutty things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do with your build. For example, I was playing Cast on Crit Ice Spear last league, or Cock Ice Spear. Once I got my Mageblood, I had enough life leech and regen in order to slap on Righteous Fire. This was a surprisingly huge damage increase due to the substantial increase in spell damage from the aura effect of Righteous Fire, which most of the time I feel like is kind of overlooked and usually not as a consideration for a cast on crit build. Mageblood is an amazing item, and it's so good that once you play with one, it's really hard to go back to playing without one once you've experienced it. Most of us are probably aware of the strength and power of the Mageblood, especially if you've ever used one before. But keep in mind there's been a relatively healthy influx of new players to PoE after the epic failure of Diablo 4 and the hype surrounding PoE 2. While I'm sure this content exists somewhere on how to prep your gear and flasks for Mageblood, all of this information I was taught by someone in my Discord after I got my first Mageblood last league, and I figured I would share the knowledge. I haven't got a Mageblood yet this league, but I'm pretty close and I can't wait to feel the power increase. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It does really help with the YouTube algorithm. I make bi-weekly content about gaming, gaming news, and Let's Plays. Until next time, have a great day/night.